Hello, and I hope you're doing well. My name's Paul Hatton, one of the leaders here at King's Community Church, and this is the home daily video, and we're actually right at the end of our series in 1 Peter. It's a New Testament letter. It's written by one of the disciples called Peter, and we're in the final few verses. Welcome to where I'm filming this video. This is my little office at the moment. Was a kid's room, so here are the animals. Try to stay focused on what I'm saying while these animals are around. Okay, chapter 5, verse 12. With the help of Silas, whom I regard as a faithful brother, I've written to you briefly, encouraging you and testifying that this is the true grace of God. Stand fast in it. She who is in Babylon, chosen together with you, sends you her greetings, and so does my son Mark. Greet one another with a kiss of love. Peace to all of you who are in Christ. There's just a couple of things I want to encourage us with, and I believe Peter and God himself would want to encourage us with about these verses. The first thing is about God's grace, and the second thing is an encouragement to continue loving one another during this time. Peter says, with the help of Silas, whom I regard as a faithful brother, I've written to you briefly, encouraging you and testifying that this is the true grace of God. Stand fast in it. All that Peter has said throughout this letter is designed to be an encouragement to us and to be a testimony of God's true grace. And his desire now, and his command really to us now and to his readers, was to stand fast in that grace. To not be swayed around, to not be pushed and tossed and thrown to the side of all the challenges and the anxieties and the financial pressures of this time. To not be swayed unnecessarily by those things, but to stand firm. To stand firm. And what do we stand firm in? Well, we don't stand firm in our experiences. We don't stand firm in our own ability to be able to control circumstances. We don't stand firm in our ability to even wage war ourselves on our anxieties or the things that we're feeling or the pressures that we're under. We don't stand fast in those things. We stand fast in the grace of God. And the grace of God comes in just a couple of forms. Amazingly, there's common grace that is given to all of mankind, to all of creation. It is grace that sustains us, gives us the very breath that we have, that we wouldn't have if God didn't daily give us that. So we all experience common grace, whether we know and follow Jesus or whether we don't, whether we have some other worldview or believe in a different God. That's common grace. But then there's saving grace. This is where God chooses to bestow his grace upon someone. He chooses someone. The Bible says before the beginning of time that God has elected people. He's chosen people. He's set people apart to know and follow him, to know and love him. This is God's saving grace. It is his initiation. He is the one who took the first step towards mankind, to love us and to bring his saving grace to us. We don't earn it. We don't deserve it. There's nothing that we have inside of our own abilities or our own lives that would merit God to accept us into his life, into heaven, into his community, into relationship with him. There's nothing in ourselves. All we bring to the table is our own brokenness, our own self-centeredness, the way that we've lived our lives for ourselves. God first. He acted first. He came to us, ultimately in the person of Jesus Christ, who lived the life that we could not live, but were called to live by God. And he died the death that we deserved to die. He took the wrath of God, the punishment that we deserve for the wrong decisions that we've made, the rebellion against God, the way we've not loved God or loved other people in the way that we should have done, the way that we've abused creation and all of the good things that God has given us, whether that be physical things in this world, whether it be relationships or work or money or other people. Jesus took that upon himself. It's God's grace given to us. There's a way of remembering what God's grace is, and it's an acronym of grace, the letters grace. And it's God's riches at Christ's expense. God's grace is that we basically experience all the goodness of God's grace and kindness and love and the inheritance of life in all of its fullness in Jesus. And we only inherit that at Christ's expense, that Jesus had to go to the cross, that he had to conquer Satan, sin and death. He had to overcome all of his enemies that we might experience life. And how do we do that? Well, daily we follow Jesus. We embrace Jesus. We say, Jesus, I need you. I need you. I accept my brokenness. I need your love and I need your kindness. I need you to help me follow you. And we do that. There's a point where we do that for the very first time, but we do that daily in our lives as well. So let me encourage you to do that. Stand fast in God's grace. Stand fast in his acceptance of you. Stand fast in his love for you. Stand fast in the fact that he came running after you. Whenever I think of God's grace, I think of adoption. It's one of the aspects of God's work in our lives. If a family adopts a child, the family chooses the child. They're making that decision to adopt the child. They know about the child, they know about their history, about their background, about what they've done and what they've had done to them. And yet the family chooses to adopt them, but not just to adopt them legally, but to give them all of the financial benefits that they have enjoyed themselves, as well as to lavish their love upon this child that is not theirs by physical birth, but there by adoption. And I think of that picture with regards to God. He knew everything about us, and yet he chose us. He adopted us. He lavished his love upon us. And we get to be the recipients of that. We get to stand fast in that today. So let me encourage you to do that. Just finally, very, very briefly, Peter concludes by saying, "She who is in Babylon, chosen together with you, sends you her greetings, and so does my son Mark. Greet one another with a kiss of love. Peace to all of you who are in Christ." Now, we obviously can't greet one another with a holy kiss. Like, don't do that. Okay? But what we can do, and the encouragement here really is to be loving and caring for one another. We can't show physical touch during this time, but we can show a closeness of relationship with those around us, those who are in our life groups, those who are in church family, those who are our neighbours, in our neighbourhoods, our communities, those who need to know the closeness of a friend, those who need to know the closeness ultimately of God and his closeness. We can express that and show that in so many ways, so many practical ways, just showing kindness in terms of calling someone and caring for them in that way. So Peter would want to encourage us, let's stand fast in his grace, in God's grace towards us, and let's extend that grace to one another. Okay, bless you. I hope you have a great day.